course, where could I go but to the Lord this morning? I want to say good morning to those who are just joining us right here for the breakfast hour this morning. It has been a beautiful morning. Some places are cloudy, some places are sunny, and even some places are even snowy. I don't know about you or where you are at. I know for myself, it's not too sunny and it's not too snowy. So I'm just going to say that for somebody. Of course, there's a cold front that I think has been sweeping across the landscape of many little countries all over the place. And I'm thinking Grand Cayman is no different than all those other places this morning. I want to say good morning to Lady Elise. Good morning, Lady Elise. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Mikey G. Good morning to our viewers, those tuned in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, wherever you're tuned in from, and of course, those joining us on the radio www.flashpointmedia.ky. I'm getting tongue tied.
Yeah, I realized you just got tongue tied a while ago, Lady Elise, and of course did not hear, yeah, that you were doing that one. So yeah, that happened. So we are working through that situation right now. I think we have a sound issue. I'm thinking that our sound on YouTube is not going through as well as it should. So I believe that we have to adjust that um, platform to allow it to actually work. Let's see how much more we can get from it. All right.
Yes, I'm sure it's gonna be sorted out pretty soon. While we are working on
Yes,
our
it's sorted out. I'm thinking it is on my end. From something different here.
what's
Checking it
wrong?
back.
What's wrong with your ender, Mikey G? Are you it's Tuesday. It's terrific Tuesday, as would be said by, of course, Corley Karen. I want to say a special good morning to her, and good morning to our listeners all over the globe, Mikey G. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and of course, usually coming up is our financial advisor. Do you know that?
Yes, of course, today is Tuesday, and of course, for many persons like myself, we await the advice so we can do better decision making where it comes on to spending money or even earning money. You don't have to spend it all the time. It's what you call consumerism, and of course, we are looking at people who are consumers and people who are producers. So we are going to just look at those two persons and see which one of the persons you find your which category you find yourself in this morning. And of course, if you're a spender or am I a consumer this morning? So our financial advisor will come advice will come up shortly right here on Flashpoint.
Do you find yourself a spender, Mikey G?
I find that I want something and I buy it. That's it. I don't know about anybody else, but if there's something that I need, I can't make that thing. I have to buy it. I don't know how to make the cars that I drive yet. I mean, I don't know how to make them yet.
You're not trying hard enough. I can hear
I
that
used to try. I
I
used to.
can hear that you're not trying hard enough.
But I've done many things in my time, as a youngster growing up. I basically made all my toys that I play with, when I was a little boy growing up. I didn't require my mother to go to the store and purchase anything. As a young boy growing up, I wouldn't get the dolly to play with. I wouldn't get the dolls to play with as a little boy. But then, of course, my sisters would get the doll. So
Naturally, I
yeah.
didn't. Yeah,
No, yeah, but you see that these days, they are training up little boys to play with dolls, and if they don't get a doll, he's crying. So we are looking at that, and if I as
right now, Mikey G, I think you're
and
just
I'm
being
speaking here right now, and somebody's going to be like, oh, why don't you want the little boy to play with the dolly? Because he's a boy and he's not a girl, and you must know that you're jackass, right? So just please don't do that, please. All right, trying to feminize the men too much. All right, so we want you to just understand, leave the little guys alone and grow up to be strong men, and you warp self, just go one side and do that warp thing that you do. All right. Anyways, so having said that, I grew up knowing that I made all my thoughts. I made the trucks, the backhoes, because men are active engaging in doing stuff. Boys are normally doing stuff, and so we find that our boys these days are not so inclined to do stuff anymore because they seem to want to play with their dolls and they want to wear their sisters' dress more than usual and all these things. So I'm gonna check out and see why this is happening, and the next time we come back, we talk about it.
All right, so it's time to hear what our
Here's one thing that I learned this week. I hear when you say you hear, pick up your toys, boys. Pick up your balls. All over they're scattered. I'm saying, that's what they say. Well, I'm go. Pick up your balls, boys. Pick them up.
All right, it's time to hear what our financial advisor has to share with us today. Every Tuesday he brings some financial advice. And so let's hear what he has to share with us this morning, Mikey G.
I'm Richard Thelwell, and here's another financial advice for you. Today we'll be talking about the purchase of a car. Now, a car represents one of our larger purchases that we will make in our lifetime. Next to our home, we will recognize that a car represents to us not just a financial decision, but an image decision. So it goes even further than even the purchase of a home. What you'll also recognize with the purchase of a car is that it builds self-esteem, looks at your image, and therefore the purchase many times is not just about the price. However, the cost of your vehicle must come and will play a part in that final decision. And therefore, we now look at whether we should buy a car used or should we buy new. To be very honest with you, there are many advantages for buying new, and also there are advantages of buying used. At the end of the day, however, you have to make that decision which option is best for you. Let us look at some of those right now. So let us start with the new car purchase. First of all, coming out of the box, you'll recognize that you'll have far newer technology. As a matter of fact, brand new technology. Things like Bluetooth, wireless charging, and so many other amenities that come in today's modern motor vehicle that you would not have even 5 years ago. Two, you look at the pricing. The price of that new car, meaning the additional things that come with it, such as warranties, manufacturer warranty, sometimes 3 years, and I've seen up to 5 and 7 year warranty on some new vehicles. Then you have built-in service agreements with your new vehicle. In addition to that, you have the peace of mind knowing that you will get a vehicle for at least another 2 to 3 years, worry-free. Let's look at some of the disadvantages of a new vehicle. First thing is that the price of the vehicle will be that much more expensive than a used vehicle. Two, chances are you are taking a loan, and once you're taking a loan for that new vehicle, your bank will insist that you must comprehensively insure that vehicle, and comprehensive insurance will always cost far more than other forms of insurance. Another disadvantage, of course, is depreciation. Your car will lose 20% in the first year alone. In addition to that, your car loses about 15% on average every year. So let's look at a car that is started out at 30,000 US dollars. By the end of the first year, you'd have lost 6,000 of that car. Now, if you finance it through bank financing, your car is now worth $24,000 used. You may still owe in excess of that $24,000. You may owe maybe just 27,000. You may owe as much as $27,000. Just 10% would have been paid off on that car. So you find yourself in a situation where your loan exceeds the value of your car. True, by the time you're finished paying off the loan, it will probably equate to your car. So you're forced to maintain and keep that car for the life of the loan. Now let's look at some of the advantages of going used. First, straight up, the price. The mere fact that you had depreciation on your used car, new car, you will realize that that same depreciation now works to the advantage of the used car. Now let us look at used cars. Some of the disadvantages of buying new actually works to the advantage of the used car buyer. The first one, of course, is depreciation. The mere fact that you have a car that is depreciated, it means that the new car owner would have gotten into the loss position of that depreciation. So on average, a 5-year-old car, if you do the maths, would have gone about 50 to 60% in depreciation. That means a car that is bought for 30,000, 360 is 18, you are now able to get that for $12,000 US. Immediately as you notice, that price factor of $12,000 now allows that person to get into a relatively good car, just 4 or 5 years old, that is in still fairly good condition, that has a good resale value. 2, you'll also realize that because chances are he's buying it cash or near cash, his insurance premiums, which is always based on the price of the car, will not be as high. In addition to that, the fees that will be done for his transfers will be based on the price of the car. Again, with a lower price, those fees are lower. Some disadvantages, however, is that you are not sure what type of car you're buying. I'm sure I've heard about the lemon. There are ways to mitigate that, of course, and that is buying a certified used car. Another disadvantage of buying a used car, is the fact that you're not sure of how the person drove it, the original owner. And sometimes you may end up with an owner or multiple owners over a very short period of time. And therefore, you are not quite certain of how they took care of the car. Yes, that can be mitigated by doing a thorough inspection to ensure that your wheels, the underbody, the undercarriage, and so on, and engine, to the best of your knowledge, are in good condition. Another big disadvantage, however, is the lack of warranty. Whereas that you would get, as I mentioned before, up to maybe even 7 years warranty, but traditionally anywhere between 3 and 5, you get maybe only 3 months, maybe as much as 6 months, but no more on a used car, especially if you buy certified used. At the end of the day, however, you have to now look at your budget. You have to look at the cost to you and what kind of image that you're trying to portray. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, I can get into a used Benz that is 5 years old, that still looks very well if it was well maintained. And chances are it would have only had one user, one previous owner. And if he took care of it and took it to the dealer for servicing, chances are you are getting into a very good car, very high quality car at a very low price. You can then decide on which way to go. Which car is better for you, used or new, based on the tips that I just shared with you and what type of financing you're going to get for it. My last disadvantage though with a used car is, as I mentioned, financing. With a new car, you can get 5, 7, and I'm even hearing about 10-year loans on your car. With a used car, that goes down by the number of years you have a car. So typically, you probably would only get a loan for anywhere up to maybe a maximum of 5 years. And of course, the last one is that the interest rate on used car, because of the risk that is involved, the banks will charge a higher interest rate. Thank you very much. This is today's financial advice from Richard Thelwell. Remember to look at my website, richardthelwell.com, and you can email me at broker@richardthelwell.com for any additional tips, advice, or anything that you'd like to comment on. Thank you very much.
I don't know. Which car are you purchasing, Mikey
Well,
G?
well, you know what I understand is that there's also lemon that you can get.
You can purchase a lemon if you're
You
not
can get a
careful.
lemon if you want.
But that's certainly helpful. You know, you make these decisions sometimes, and you have to balance and make sure it's not an emotional decision, and you would have been making the right decision when it comes to purchasing a car, because then it can end up costing you so much more. You bought this car and you end up spending money after, you know what I mean.
But not even that, there are many persons who own vehicles that they know it's time to get rid of the car, but because of the emotional attachments to the car, you're unable to sell the thing that is costing you an arm and a leg, and you're unable to get rid of it. So, yeah, I mean, it's a troubling thing. It's like when you think about these things, you think about having a family home. We talked about stuff like that. I think sometime this already, maybe sometime last week. I'm not sure,
A few
but
weeks ago.
2 weeks
Yes.
ago,
Yes.
right? And so when you think about having a family home, and you look at, is it just a regular house that you're selling? And then you think about it, you realize that, you're not just selling a house, you're selling a home that was home to you and your siblings, and say a parent has passed away and all of that, and you are the one who is left as the person who has been willed to you, and you decide you're going to sell the property.
Yes.
You know, it's not just a sell
Yes.
that you're selling. In fact, what is worst is if the parent decide to sell the house, that home that you are living in, and no, you're looking at it and you remember your room that you had when you used to. All of these things are sentimental attachments that you would have basically, be so attached to that location that you're unable to get past it. You can't lose that home, you know.
Uh-huh.
I know it's the same thing with cars. Sometimes the car, them say new broom, no office sweep clean,
But
but
all
old
broom, no the
broom
corners.
every corner. So there are memories in the car that you might just want to keep. There are people have different reasons. You may have taken this is the first time you bought this car, and you took your kid to school, or it's something. You may have bought this car, you met the woman, the dream woman of your life, stuff like that, or the guy of your life. I'm not sure which angle that will go, but this is a storyline. It's many different reasons, many different things, but whichever one it is, good advice is good advice.
Good advice is
Tell
good
the
advice.
onion before it becomes a lime.
Well, I hope we would have all our listeners and viewers want to say good morning to those on YouTube and those on Facebook. And of course, special good morning to our news anchor, Curly Karen. You know, it's that time when we kind of highlight what's happening across the
Well,
world.
like you too, Lady Elise, I want to say good morning to Marcia this morning. Of course, Marcia Healthcare right there in the US of A, yeah, in the Florida area. And of course, I want to say good morning to Caroline Smith this morning. Of course, one of our, true to heart. So I want to say just good morning to our listeners this morning, wherever you are. Of course, if you're on www.flashpointmedia.ky and listening on radio, I want to say good morning to you. We are not able to see your name popping up, but we'll say good morning to you while you listen from various locations across the landscape.
Yeah, special good morning from all of us here. And of course, we're always happy to have you join us here on the breakfast hour. Always something interesting and exciting. And of course, for this morning, as we mentioned, we're just going to share a few news items from not just Cayman, but, uh, you know, across the world. Just gonna share with
Yeah.
you what we are picking up, not just locally, but on the international
Also
scene.
remember also remember that this morning news is brought to you by SI Ultrasound for all your ultrasound needs right here in the Grand Cayman Islands.
Of course, just sharing with you, Mikey G. First up, we are learning that over in Barbados, they have confirmed two adult cases of Oropouchi virus. And of course, that is the latest news coming to us from Loop News this morning.
What,
Um,
where did that one come from? The last one came from monkeys. Sorry. The first set came from monkeys. That was the HIV virus. The next one, which is COVID, came from rat bats. Which one? Which animal this one come from now?
um,
Did you see the animal there as well?
yes, it's a biting midge. It is smaller than a mosquito.
There it is. I know. I'm sure of it.
Right, so the Ministry of Health and Wellness has confirmed two adult cases of Oropouchi virus disease in Barbados. And of
Hmm.
course, they made a statement and they have asked that the public adopt protective measures against mosquito and insect bites to prevent contracting this virus. So these measures include using insect screens and repellents, wearing long sleeved shirts and pants, especially from dusk to dawn when the vectors are most active, eliminating areas of stagnant water around properties to prevent mosquito breeding. Of course, over in Bermuda, the police are warning against WhatsApp hack scam. The Bermuda Police Service has advised the public to exercise increased caution in the wake of reports of WhatsApp accounts being compromised and used to perpetrate fraudulent financial schemes. And of course, we know that's been happening. And I think one thing the scammers do is that they are quite resilient and they are quite determined and they are quite focused. And if they don't get through from one individual, they just move to the next because they know that they will find.
They eventually find somebody who is not thinking on their feet at that time. And of course, it's getting easier by the minute with the AI introduction, with AI knowledge now. People are even cloning people's voices. So you would hear Mikey G speaking, and you think I am the one giving the instruction to you or talking to somebody, a family member of mine. And of course, they might just be quick, my children, or somebody
Yes,
who you're closely related to.
yes,
They might just, think that they're actually talking to you, and then they just probably just do it because they are really hearing your voice, and not knowing that the person is not the real you. And
Yeah,
even if you see a video come up, trust me, that's even worse,
yeah.
because videos are even looking like you, talking like you. In fact, they have apps now, or programs now, that can make anything talk, any photograph, anything talk right now. So we have to look at these things. That is
Oh,
really good.
it
It's going
is
to
really a scary situation, but
yeah,
of
we have we
course,
have we have put place ourselves in some serious situations with going to, we claim to advance in technology, but what we have done is put ourselves in more danger as we get closer to the end of the time.
yeah. And I just remind our viewers and listeners, because this news item comes to us out of Bermuda, but it's a situation that's worldwide. We had several, um, even last week I got a call, and but I don't entertain the conversation. Once I recognize that they're calling from whatever group they're calling, I that's it. I
Yeah,
just
the top hack is that they're having a WhatsApp call, and of course it has
or
moved
a
from one.
meeting
It,
or
I mean, it has moved from different places. You're having a Zoom meeting or something, but it,
yeah.
it has moved from different places. They are using different ways of scamming individuals,
So
and
be on alert, everyone. Be on alert,
people are
everyone.
falling prey to
Yes,
these different scamming activities. However, what we want to advise persons that when they do this and take over your WhatsApp, especially when they're hacking into your WhatsApp group, and what they're intending to do is to find all the persons and the contact that you have, and then target those individuals. So if you have 100 persons and the family members are included, then you know that they are at risk with any person who may have hacked into your phone. Now, a lot of persons opt to disregard or discard the number immediately and get a new number. Now, what I will advise you against that, because the hackers are actually counting on you doing exactly that action to give them more access to your phone number, that they can continue to use it to call your family members. And so once you get a new number, then they will have your old number continue for as long as they want to use it. They can. But if you go through the process of regaining your number, which is quite a little,
yes,
you have to take it. It's a little tedious to do. I see WhatsApp come up with a new bit of information of how to kind of like get the scammers out of your WhatsApp and kind of prevent quite a bit of this now. But what we are asking and advising persons to do when you get hacked, do not just leave your number to the hackers to keep it. Please try to regain it, and of course, ask WhatsApp to send you the information on how to, or reach out to someone who is a little bit technologically more savvy than yourself, and of course, ask how to regain your information, your telephone number or your WhatsApp number, because you don't want to leave it with your hackers, because it's open season on all your contacts in there
yeah,
afterwards. Even after taking it back, they would have collected the information already. They would have
yes,
written all the numbers, recorded all your information, all your contacts, and everybody, and step by step they go through and try to. And they might not do it in the same week. They can take months to come back to doing it. So, but then of course, the longer they take it, the less likely it is going to work. So, they're going to try to move fast through the list. But bear it in mind that these are things that you might have to do. There are many more ideas that we have, our acts that come out. Of course, as we go along, we'll advise you more about some of those.
all right, so let's be safe, everyone, while we're using the technology. And some news coming out of Jamaica, of course, as we just follow up with what is happening um, across Cayman and the rest of the world. Of course, we just want to um, go over to Jamaica, where there is a temporary work resumption reached junior doctors. All right, the Ministry of Labor is reporting that a temporary work resumption has been arrived at with the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association for its members who have been on sick out since Monday morning to report for duties beginning at 6 p.m. today, the statement from the minister said that due to the threat of industrial action by members of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security held an emergency conciliation meeting to address outstanding concerns. Of course, they have managed to get the doctors back to work who were going on sick out. And of course, again, men held after encashing over $400,000 in fake lotto tickets. Right, investigators assigned to Black River Criminal Investigation Branch have arrested and charged two farmers who allegedly used fake lottery tickets to fleece hundreds of thousands of dollars from an establishment in Santa Cruz in St. Elizabeth last month. So again, we're talking about scammers,
Well,
different
is
different type.
I'm sympathetic towards the farmers right now.
You're sympathetic towards them.
Yeah,
So
because what has happened is that what we have looked at throughout the landscape of Jamaica right now is that what we have done is plant a lot of houses on the farmlands. And so we have done is leave the farmers to use the hillside where there's rocks and stones to actually be trying to farm and those. I mean, they might just be trying to get another way out. It's Christmas coming, and yeah, I mean, they're trying.
well. If you're finding an excuse for the farmers, why not one for the scammers?
Yeah, I think they're one of the same. I think
Exactly.
plant the
So
houses.
you can find a reason. All right.
Mm.
Is it okay to have a legitimate reason to do an illegitimate thing? No, it's still wrong.
Yes, I'm just probably just pointing to the problem. I'm not saying this is right. I'm just saying probably what leads to. It's like everything is what you call a cause and effect.
Four
But
hundred
if
and
you notice,
eighty-six
if you notice,
thousand $400
that's
and
Christmas money.
fake tickets. Listen, you have fake everything, fake everything.
But
All
then,
right.
but then the lotto. Some of these games are actually the scam itself. So you have to watch these things. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we have legal scams and we have illegal scams. So, which one are we? We are going to punish the persons for the illegal scams, but the ones that are done legally, those persons can't be punished because
It's
they're not
legal.
looking for you. You cannot be caught, right? You can't be caught. Let's take, for example, look at banking. I went to school learning that banking would have been something that when I put my money in the bank, I get interest on the banking
That's
on my
changing. No,
and
I'm glad you bring up that.
so what has happened now is that banks are now charging us a fee to keep the money that they are using to earn more money than what they can than God Himself that they can even appear, right?
They
I know
don't give
you're
interest anymore. Banks don't give interest
no,
anymore.
I don't think they give interest. I don't. If they do, it's like interest that they have conditions of giving interest. If you have less than a certain amount of money in there, they're going to take money from you. But if you have a certain amount of money and you don't reduce that balance, then you might get something on it, which is not really an incentive to have, you know. And so when we look at Cash Plus and these places that got destroyed, we understand that everybody was saying why it's a bad thing that happened. But then look at Cash Plus. Cash Plus would have paid you back how much percent on your money. And I think I will just stand here right now, and I'm not advising that anybody go into any Ponzi scheme or any of the above. But I saw what Cash Plus did, and I saw what the bank did afterwards. And it really something to think about. Many persons while they lost their money, I don't think they lost their money because Cash Plus wasn't working. People saying that story, but the same principle that Cash Plus was using, the banks use to do the same exact thing. It's just that Cash Plus didn't have the ability to disperse the money properly.
But you touched on one area, Mikey G, and I have to mention this because I have always been I am trying to find a word, just overwhelmed by the sheer change and shift in how things. I remember when we used to travel, and when you travel, you, of course, your bags are included. You get a meal, and of course, um, those things are just no. You're traveling. You have to pay for your bag. You have to pay for your seat.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody find a way to do the same things. So you have, like I say, you have legal scams and you have illegal scams. And what they put the legal scam is to sell up. You consider the conversation in the concept of selling up when you're doing sales. So here's a ticket. If you want to add your bags, it's $20 per bag, and and the conversation go on, right?
But
And
I'm
if you're
saying
yes,
it's not like you're gonna stand on your way or you're flying. Why don't you just? There's a cost to travel, right? Um, is that like I can carry my chair and put my chair? I can't carry my seat, but
well,
now I have to pay for
the
my
next time
seat.
they charge you for the seat, tell them,
Yes,
don't worry, charge me for the seat. I'm bringing my own chair with me.
I
You know,
remember. I remember seeing this video. Do you remember seeing this video where this passenger had all the clothes on, everything in her suitcase? She
that's
wore it.
Oliver Samuels did the same thing. You know, he
I
went
am not paying for any luggage
not going
because
to go with the luggage at all. So that's how it works. But lady, it is very troubling, and when we find ourselves in these situations, sometimes remember that there are also other airlines that actually you don't have to pay for bags also. So well, one set is doing it, another set is not
no,
doing
listen,
it.
those are far and few between, and I'm wondering how or when they're going to catch on to it, and then things will have to change. But
Well,
while we get that information, Mikey, I must of course play a song for our listeners. Um, one of our special songs that we normally play here this morning, of course, this one done by the man himself, written by Miguel Lowe, and of course, the Crystallites and Friends are the ones who were able to bring that out to the forefront. And certainly, we have enjoyed listening to that song, and certainly, we will enjoy listening this morning as well. Let's hear.
of course, as we get that one in this morning, a little bit of technical difficulty right there. Sorry to get that noise in your ears this morning. Of course, maybe yeah, that one is giving a little bit of trouble this morning. All right, so let's go to maybe our community notice board. What's happening today in your neck of the wood this morning? Aside ultrasound for all your ultrasound needs right here in the Grand Cayman Islands, and of course, this. Change begins with you this morning. Of course, it is indeed a pleasant good morning for those who are joining us this morning. I hope you're having a good time so far. And of course, this morning, you've gotten some information this morning that would be beneficial to you this morning. I have a little bit of difficulty with the sound on that song just now. I think that there's something going on with that. I'm going to be just checking that right there and see what's happening. Let's get that checked out later on. After the breakfast hour is finished. But whatever it is, let's see if we can get through the morning and say, of course, it's 65 degrees Fahrenheit right here in the studios of Flashpoint this morning. And of course, it is 8:28 in the AM. It has been a good morning so far, ladies. But, things that happen on today. What's the day like for today? There are many things that happen on a Tuesday, and of course, each week we have a feature, that tells what's happening on each day and what are some of the special things that are celebrated on this special day that we have. Apart from birthdays and anniversaries, and of course, all of these, all of the pleasantries, and so today, yeah. All right, today is Human Rights Day. Uh, I think we have lost the sound in our stream this morning. I'm not sure what's happening with that. I may have to check and see why we're not. I think our listeners are not getting a chance to hear us on YouTube this morning. Um, let's check and see what's happening with that. And of course, we'll try our best to figure it out as we go along. But I'm thinking, Lady Elise this morning. So let me check on that. I think the channel is somewhere. All right, so we want to apologize for our technical difficulty this morning, guys. But I'm thinking that we are having that situation going on, hopefully, and we trust that we can resolve this matter quicker than we can any other time. Yeah. But I want to tell you, though, that, when we think about things like human rights, we talk about human rights all the time, and we are saying that the human rights of an individual is important. But we realize that human rights sometimes don't allow the persons who are victims of the crime to actually be heard. You know, so that's something that I'm thinking about lately. Is that the victims are usually the ones who don't get any. But the human rights always go after the persons. Like if the police get involved and you shoot somebody or somebody gets shot, human rights come up and they say, "Boy, you kill that man because he robbed this person, and he needs his rights. He has rights. He has the right to rob you. Yeah, he has the right to break into your house, and he has the right to take the stuff that you're having there. He has the right. I'm just sorry. I'm not seeing the balance with human rights. I mean, it is there. It is there, but it simply I don't think it is equal. I don't think it shows more sympathy towards somebody who would have harmed someone versus someone who would be harmed by the individual. And I learned that too late in the day. And I don't think you're going through the stream. I think your sound is. I'm not sure exactly why, but
Still?
um, I'm still waiting to hear if it's coming through the stream.
Okay,
Um,
so I'm just talking, but um,
it's not for it to get louder or anything. It's just that something is just not open. That's all it is.
okay.
Something's closed and causing the stream not to get it. But it's coming through the radio at www.flashpointmedia.ky. Yes, I'm hearing it now. And so I'm hearing now. Very good. Very good. All right. So you were saying, Lady Elise.
I was saying that it's time to get out of studio. Um, this morning has been a wonderful breakfast hour, but we're talking about human rights, as you mentioned, and today being celebrated as Human Rights Day and also International Animal Rights Day. Human Rights Day was formally established worldwide when it was declared by the United Nations in 1950. So it's been around a long time, Mikey G.
Sorry, Lady Elise, but I'm telling you, for the United Kingdom and all of the things that they do for so many persons internationally, or worldwide, I personally, I would say, I'm just standing by for some of those things that there are things that I just don't want to just say right now. I'm telling you the truth.
All right, don't say them.
Don't want to say it right.
You can keep them tomorrow. Just a reminder that Dr. K joins us tomorrow on Wellness Wednesday. And of course, we're going to be Ask Your Doctor. We had such an interesting discussion last Wednesday, and certainly we expect an interesting one on this Wednesday as well. Want to thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Breakfast Hour. It has been a wonderful episode, and I hope that you will also have a terrific Tuesday.
All right, for those who have been with us this morning from the time we started on Flashpoint Radio, of course, www.flashpointmedia.ky. We have been here from 6:30 in the a.m. And of course, you will start the stream sometime maybe around 7:30, most of the times. But that's when we start the stream. But if you really want to catch us in the early mornings, you come to www.flashpointmedia.ky. And of course, you get us on the radio and you can get the conversation from we begin each morning early in the morning, and then you don't have to wait until we start the stream maybe later on in the morning that you catch just the conversation, but you can catch the music also in the morning on radio. So we don't really play the music too much on YouTube because sometimes YouTube tend to want to block some of those songs, and it creates a problem for our algorithm, and trouble us a little bit too much, so we refrain from it. So we'll come on maybe at a certain time. So really and truly, we don't just come on at 7:30. We are actually on from 6:30 a.m. in the morning every morning, but we're on www.flashpointmedia.ky. And of course, you can always get the conversation there. If your stream start giving problem, if you have your radio, you could just switch simply to your radio. You'd always hear us there if you get any problems on your stream. Of course, we want to say thank you for joining us this morning. Stick and stay with Flashpoint. Lots of great stuff coming up later on right here on Flashpoint. And of course, catch us later on, 42 to 6 Super Mix. It goes on to 6 o'clock this evening. And we'll be having such a beautiful day. Stay and right here on
And don't
Flashpoint.
forget the Toastmasters speak, Mikey G.
Well,
Toastmasters.
of course, Toastmasters Speaks comes up this evening at 5:30. That's the ending of the Super Mix, right? So we just stop Super Mix shy of 5:30, give the Toastmasters their chance to speak, and of course, we continue. Of course, remember, we rebroadcast one of our episodes of the Breakfast Hour in the evening at 8:30 in the evening, right afterwards. So if you missed yesterday's episode, then of course you can catch it this evening right here on Flashpoint.
Have yourself a beautiful one. Yeah. We're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further, away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries, we'll make our own way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd. Just you and me together, it will all seem better outside. Just us in the sky. I will go wherever, I'll be yours forever. Are we part of this circus? Is it innate? Feels like a heavy burden, but I can't relate. Do our actions even matter? Or is this our fate? At least now I'm feeling better.